You're listening to Business Stories with Ryan Arcaracci, where I speak to business professionals from all walks of life. Thanks for listening, and let's get to it. Welcome back to another episode, everybody. I am excited for this one because we're talking about a subject that a lot of people have questions about, may not always understand, and that is immigration. Leonardo Shapiro is the founder and CEO of Not Alien. This is a website helping people understand the immigration process. So this is going to be a good one. Leonardo, thank you for being here.
Hey, Ryan, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Of course. So tell us about your background with this concept and how it kind of came about.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan, again. Just for some context, I'm an immigrant. I was originally born in Mexico City. My family was born somewhere in Middle Europe. I think my granddad was from Poland and Russia, and they fled Europe in the midst of the Second World War, and they were actually trying to come to America, to the US. And my grandfather used to tell us this story where he was held in Ellis Island for a few days, and then they told him, like, sorry, we cannot let you in, but we can send you to Mexico. And he was like, what the hell is Mexico? And is this thing down south? And so this is how my family ended up being here. I've been a very curious my whole life, a little bit on, an ADHD, a little bit on the spectrum side of things as well. So always this kind of a very difficult to focus kind of kid, and always really curious about how things worked. And I started my first company in Mexico, and life brought me to the San Francisco Bay Area. I moved with my family there in 2012, and oh boy, we had such a complicated immigration journey, and took us almost 12 years to get our permanent residence in the US. I'm sorry.
Wow.
And it's hard, right? I mean, it's hard when you have kids and you have a spouse that they cannot work, and they're just, they're in this kind of a inferior status, right? So we worked really hard, and we had a lot of things just against us, and probably ours was, I know that is not a unique case, but it was a very difficult case. And we had an administration that it was not really friendly to immigrants, and then we had a global pandemic that put everything upside down, and so we struggled so much. And for the last 12 years, I've been doing what I call immigration engineering, which is just trying to figure out how to extend your processes, and how to move from one visa to another visa, and how to trying to find ways of becoming a regular citizen / member of society. How you can level the playing field for your family. And since I've been working on this for so long, and at some point somebody told me, you should write a book about this. I tell you, when you and I were speaking, that I'm a frustrated musician. I'm also a frustrated writer. I write a lot. I've never written for to publish anything, but I write a lot. And at some point was like, well, I'm not a musician, I'm not a writer, but I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm going to start a company to help people navigate the global immigration process. And this is the story from behind Not Alien. Every time I used to call the United States Customs and Immigration Services, and they would ask me for my alien registration number, I used to answer, I'm not an alien, I'm a human. And so this is why we ended up baptizing the company with that name. Right. And I I mean, alien is a legal term, but I think we have to thank our friends from Hollywood and somebody else, just because in 99.9% of the people, if you ask them what's an alien, they were going to say it's something bad, it's something ugly, it's something scary, it's something foreign.
Right.
And this is, I mean, we're definitely not aliens, right? We are humans, and this is the story behind the company.
Right. So that's interesting because I think that is I don't want to say it's derogatory to say it, but it does give you a sort of an image of something not of this world. So I think you're right. I think we have to understand these are not aliens; these are human beings that we all coexist on the planet, right? So you come up with this idea for not alien, and walk us through how that starts. So you decide this is a problem, we need to fix it, and then you decide to start this company. So what happens then?
So when I decide that I want to start a company that will help people navigate their immigration journey, I think the first thing that you do when you're starting a new company is just to make sure that nobody has done this before, right?
Right.
And I was like, okay, this is such a big problem that I'm sure that somebody has done this before. I was just like, I've not seen this. So I spent hours on, I mean, countless hours, days searching for this. Uh, and it was like, well, it has to be a product on the internet. It has to be an app for that, right? It has to be a product on the internet that help you move to another country. And so I worked and I worked and I worked and I looked for it and I couldn't find it. I found like a really specific, applications that can help you for specific type of visas, for specific type of countries, but I couldn't find, you know, that destination that you would actually go in the internet to do that. So got together with some friends from my previous companies, and we just we created a fictional website of, okay, here's a product that can help you move to another country, and we just made a very bold claim, right? It's like, yeah, we help you move to anywhere in the world. And so we published our webpage, and we created kind of a waiting list for people to get in there. And it was like, well, let's just see if people are looking for this.
Yeah.
And we were incredibly surprised the amount of people in the world that were looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
So in the last 4 months, I just spent my days speaking with fellow not aliens from all the world, and getting in Zoom calls with people from every nationality, every walk of life, really just trying to understand what are they looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the biggest surprises that we had was that a lot of people want to move, but they don't know where, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
contrary to the popular belief that people say, hey, I just want to move to the US, or I just want to move to Germany, or I just want to move to Mexico. We found this enormous group of people that said, uh, I want to move, and there's very different reasons why people might want to move, but I just don't know what's the best place for me to go.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of quoting one of our users said, like, this is not like I'm shopping for shoes on the internet that if I don't like them I can return them, right? This is probably one of the most consequential decisions of your lifetime.
Right.
So basically we said, well, what if you use technology, kind of artificial intelligence, all those things, to gather all the immigration programs from all the world, and we put them into our systems, and we design a product that can help people discover their eligibility and say, based on who you are and based on your superpowers and what you have to offer, you are eligible to move to these countries. And then we said, what about if we design this technology that we can interview people in a deeper sense and really get to know them and really get to know what their passions are and what their dreams are, and what they're looking for as a life. And we can build some technology as well that can predict where we think you're going to be more successful. So this is what we're doing at Not Alien. We help people understand their eligibility, and we help people understand what's kind of the best immigration strategy for them, that we believe that it's going to kind of help fulfill their dreams. And as we speak right now, we are building the whole technology, and we're working with the best lawyers in the world to create a platform that will allow you to file for one of those visas that allow you to move to the country that you want to do, that you like. It's pretty interesting, but in the next 20 years, 400 million people, and I'm just going to say that number again because it's just like insane. 400 million people will move to, OECD countries. These 400 million people are going to produce an economical output of $400 trillion.
Wow.
Right? I mean, it's just crazy, right? Yeah. $400 trillion. And so who gets to keep those $400 trillion, right?
Right.
And it's going to be a fierce competition between countries to attract these people. Contrary to this popular belief that, no, we just want to block immigration. It's like, no, right? I mean, OECD countries are getting old. Pension systems are collapsing. We need to bring younger people. I don't know how is it for you. For us in the Bay Area, you try to get a primary care physician, and there's like a 6-month waiting list. There are no doctors, there are no nurses, there are no people who can take care of the elderly. They're not teachers, right? Yeah. So you're going to see a fierce competition of countries trying to attract all kinds of talent to their countries. Yeah. And it's completely disorganized, and it's completely fragmented, and we're looking to be the ones who can insert ourselves and be this guiding light for people, right? We believe that in a very short time, instead of actually countries choosing people, you're going to have people choosing countries.
That's interesting. So, I mean, I don't know a lot about the immigration process, and obviously you've been through it yourself, and it took over a decade for you to really get through it, which tells me that it's very complex and confusing at times, time consuming. How does Not Alien simplify this for the users? How does it help them simplify the process, take away the headaches and the stress? How does that work?
Yeah. So it starts by really understanding what are your options, right? As I was saying at the beginning, countries design programs to try to attract the right people to kind of balance their demographics in their countries. And they might publish this program on their websites, or they might advertise this in certain things. But people need to find them, right? So just for example, to make a concrete example, Australia has a very specific program that they do kind of the census inside, and they say we have all these labor shortages. So they create programs for very specific professions or fields of studies. And if you qualify for some of those, you can actually apply for the visa, and then you can go and you can move to Australia and look for a job offer and all those things. The problem is that this information is incredibly difficult to find. incredibly difficult to understand. And it's really contradicting, because you read something and then you go and you say, okay, I think I get it. And 5 minutes later, you read something that contradicts what you just read 5 minutes before, and it's like,
Right.
okay, I don't know what you're talking about. And you know, when you're in a place where there's so much information fragmentation, so much confusion, there's a huge space for people, for bad actors to abuse people,
Right.
right? So what happened today is, like, I decided I want to move somewhere. I just like start looking for this information. I'm just incredibly confused, and then I found this kind of immigration consultancy agency on the internet or somewhere, and I speak with somebody, and they claim to be able to help me, and they give me some information, and sometimes they charge me a lot of money, and at some point nothing comes right, and I'm just lost. I have less money in my bank account, and I'm more frustrated.
Right.
Right? It's a really cumbersome process. So this is where we start as in Alien. We demystify that, and kind of with our technology, we're able to tell you, you qualify for these programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And thing, kind of the second thing is, when somebody tells me, well, you know, how do you explain your business? I just tell them, well, you know, ask ChatGPT or ask Google to recommend you a lawyer for a particular country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's self-explanatory, right? I mean, you Google best lawyers for Australia, or you ask ChatGPT to ask you, and you get this kind of conundrum of listings. And in the same listing, you have a 5 stars, 0 stars, terrible, good, bad. It's just insane. It's just so difficult. Like, in my lifetime, I had to hire 10 lawyers, right? And I had to spend more than $50,000 in my process. And I was speaking with one, and the one was like, no, I don't think this is a good strategy. And was speaking the other one, and it's like, no, I don't think this is a good strategy. And so I ended up discovering kind of the archetype of the lawyer that we believe. And I think there are not, and this is just definitely my personal opinion, right? So I don't claim to know this, but I don't think there's good lawyers for Australia. I think there's a good lawyer for Australia for a family reunification. So it's hyper specialized. So if you find the lawyer who knows exactly that particular space, I think you're gonna save the $50,000 that I spent on the countless hours and the 10 lawyers I ended up hiring. So you can use technology to do that. And then, right, to really understand, if I understand how eligible you are and to which programs you are, it's really easy to now make the connection on what would be the best program that you can do. And again, working with lawyers and working with technology together, immigration, it's a legal process, it's a filing process. And I think what makes this super interesting is artificial intelligence. Because with artificial intelligence, you can really scale these at internet scale, right? You can do these for every single country, for every single immigration program, for every single person in the world. And you know, it's like a matchmaking, right?
Right.
And it's like you know, I get a few months ago, one of these calls I get with somebody, and then I get a Zoom call with this person, and the Zoom call starts, and that person tells me, hi, I'm not special. And I was like, what do you mean you're not special? Right? Everybody's special in some sort of way,
in some way. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, no, you're not. No, you know, I mean, I'm not an astrophysicist. I don't know how to build nuclear reactors. You think somebody would want me in another country? Was like, hey, I mean, you are special in one way or another. You have some superpowers in one way or another. And there's right now all these, you know, the 190, I don't know exactly what the number is, but all the countries in the world right now, they're looking for you in one way or another, right?
Right.
So this person was in some country in South America, and we ended up matching that person in a program in one country in Europe that it was looking for people who can take care of the elderly. And she was like, I this is my passion, right? My passion is to, you know, to really take care of vulnerable people. And it was like a matchmaking, right?
Right.
So you can do that with technology right now, and this is what makes it so interesting, because you can go to the very specific use case, to a very specific person, and match them in this vast array of world. And again, this person probably would have never thought that I was able to move to that country doing that specific thing. And this is what makes this so exciting.
Yeah, this is exciting. So if you're somebody like walk me through, let's say you're somebody who doesn't wants to move, maybe they want to move out of the US, or they want to move, let's say, but they don't know where. They know what they want to do. They kind of have an idea of where they want to go, but they don't have a specific place in mind. So it's pretty vague. How do you operate with that? Is that through using AI and just kind of understanding their goals, what they do, and kind of directing them? It's like a matchmaking. You're saying, "Oh, I kind of like this type of person. I kind of want to be in this part of the world, and this is what I do." You kind of narrow it down and pinpoint. Is it not only a country, but does it also go granularly to the city level or specific region?
We're not that specific yet. I
Okay.
think we're definitely trying to get to
Right.
that sense. But so and I mean, I think you just described 90% of our customers, right?
Okay.
We have 10% of our customers who say, I know I want to move to this country, and I'm just looking for somebody who can help me move there.
Yeah.
And we help some of our countries there. But I mean, most of our customers are exactly into that situation where they say, you know, I want to move to another country. There's various reasons why people are in that situation. But I just want to move. I want a lifestyle change, or I don't feel comfortable where I'm living right now, or I'm looking for additional economical opportunities. So it's just like planning a trip, right? So
Yeah.
where should I go?
Yeah.
Uh, so they come with us, and they take a survey. Uh, our survey has between 30 to 50 questions. That's depending on the different uh, characteristics of the person answering that survey. So they answer that, takes between 5 to 10 minutes, and at the end of the survey, they get, okay, based on what you just told us, we believe that you're eligible to move to any of these countries, and we present them an
Mhm.
array of options. Uh, then they take an interview, and the interview it's a very in-depth interview where we we really want to understand who they are and what they want to do.
Mhm.
And this goes from, tell me who you are, tell me what your goals are, tell me what your dreams are, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, tell me if you're a little conservative, tell me if you're a little liberal, if you want to disclose something related to your gender identity, it's great. Tell me about your education, tell us about your hobbies, tell us about your family, tell us about your heritage. And so we get like a very in-depth interview of who that person is.
Mhm.
We take all that and we run it through our technology, and we produce an immigration strategy that says, based on what you told us, uh, we believe that your best options are A, B, and C, right? In that interview, sometimes people tell us, my country of choice would be X, but but I'm definitely open. So our immigration strategy says, tomorrow, if you wanted to move to one of these countries, you can apply for visa X, visa Y, visa Z. This is more or less kind of the cost that this is going to have. And if you if you're not exactly 100% eligible to that place, but you can do some short-term actions like, hey, for example, just like take some English, one English test that can just get certain parameters, or make sure that you certify your diploma, or make sure that you take some short-term actions that can make you eligible to that place, and you can go and apply for those programs. And we also kind of outline kind of a more long-term strategy of, well, if your country of choice is this one, and we believe you don't qualify for that, what are the specific things that you can do, right? So for example, there are certain programs that you need to apply. In order for you to apply, you need to have certain years of experience in your profession. So it's like, well, you have 3 years of experience doing whatever you do. If you do another year, right, you're going to be eligible. Or if you take a semester abroad and study something else, right, that counts as a way of hedging that thing that you're still missing. So
Right.
we kind of outline the whole process, right? We give you a roadmap. It's exactly that. It's a roadmap, and as you can imagine, that roadmap has like hundreds of action items, and we help you manage all those action items. And at the end, the actual process of moving is you need to file for a visa, and we do that for you. And now we're starting just to explore what happens when you move, right? A lot of our customers is like, well, now I'm going to I land in a new country, and how do I get a credit card? How do I get a
Get your
home? How do
your bank
yeah,
and all that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right? Which is, it's really funny. My daughter spent 2 years studying in France,
Hmm.
and it's one of those chicken on the egg situations where she got there, and she called us. She's like, this is crazy, right? Because I want to open a bank account, and they tell me in order to open a bank account I need a cell phone, right? And I go to the cell phone company, and they tell me in order to get a cell phone you need a bank account, right? Which is like,
Wow.
it's like,
Okay. Yeah, that's
how
kind
do
of
you,
hard.
how do you it's like, how do you do this, right?
Yeah. Right.
And of course, as you can imagine, what immigrants do is they help each other. So
Yeah.
she connected in the place, and she ended up finding it. Oh, go to that branch, and that branch, the manager is going to lend you his cell phone. So you're going to get the SMS that you need in order to do that, and you're going to get open your bank account. So I mean, I mean, there's a there's a way around all those things, because I mean, immigration is as old as humans, right? I mean,
Right.
we were all born in Central Africa, and
Right.
if there's something that Homo sapiens have done, is just like move from one place to another.
Right.
So I mean, this is in our genes, this is in our DNA,
Right.
and is we now have the tools, and we have the powers to productize this in a way to make it easier for everybody else.
I think this is super interesting because I've thought, like, I mean, a long time ago, I thought, boy, like I grew up outside of Toronto, Canada, and I've been to Canada, and I love Toronto, and I love some of this, like Vancouver. I haven't been there yet, but I know it's beautiful. And I've always thought to myself, what if I move there? But then the first thing that came into my mind was, it seems like such a pain to like uproot, not only move all your stuff, all your things, go away and move away from family and friends, but at the same time, rebuilding, like, a bank account and all the legal stuff and working somewhere or starting a business or whatever. It just seems like such a headache. So you guys are really in there helping people navigate through all of that, it sounds like.
Exactly. So that's exactly our business.
Yeah.
Uh, I, you know, it's it's uh it's it's maybe a little bit. It's kind of a romantic way of looking at things, but
Yeah.
I think when people ask me, what do you do, is like, I think I help people fulfill their dreams, right?
Right.
You
Yeah.
you speak you when you speak to you know to this, and again, everybody, unfortunately, and again, I don't want to get political on this, so
Right.
I won't do it. But unfortunately, when everybody thinks about immigration, right, they think, about caravans of people coming from South America crossing through Mexico,
Right.
or they think about, this huge people getting into boats into the Mediterranean and all those things. And
Yeah.
this is because the system is so broken,
Right.
right? It doesn't have to be that way,
Yeah.
right? I mean, immigration happens every single day, every year, 20 million people. And this is not immigration by force, right? We're not talking about the refugee market, the people who have to leave, or unfortunately, they have to leave their homes because of war, or because of this. These are people who are like deciding to leave their homes and have the means and have the
Voluntarily.
country exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we when I started this company, the first thing that I did was I wrote this manifesto, and the first thing that I did is I think it's my belief that everybody should be entitled to move to another country as long as there is a fair exchange of value, right?
Right.
And this is what most of the immigrants do, right? They
Yeah.
come, they contribute, and they generate a lot of value. Maybe, I mean, I don't know what the economical output. I don't know how many. I don't know what the multiplier factor is.
Yeah.
It's something interesting to be researched, but it's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I could tell you that, I mean, I'm not trying to get political, but I'm just saying culturally from America, I think when we hear immigration, first of all, it has a negative connotation in some ways because of the media and politics. Um, but I also think that there's this perception that people want to come to America. I don't think there's a perception that people actually want to leave America and find other places. There's other opportunities, and there's some beautiful places in the world to go outside of our country. Now, I'm not saying America's a bad place. I'm saying there's the other side of it, right? So like what trends are you seeing with, like, let's say Americans looking to go elsewhere? Where, like, are they older, are they younger, like what's the demographic and where are they flocking to? Do you have any analytics or ideas on that?
Yeah, great question, Ryan. So here's some interesting insights, right? So the first one, which is probably going to be a surprise and a shock for a lot of people, but the United States of America is no longer the most desired destination in the world, right?
Yeah.
Uh, that was when I saw that, when we saw those in our numbers, I was like, whoa, right? I think a lot of us in the US have this belief that, oh, everybody wants to come here.
Right.
Well, that's no longer the case. 29% of our potential customers or our customers are in the US and they want to leave the US,
Mhm.
right? Which was shocking for me as well. When we saw that on the data, I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting.
Right.
And it's a variety of things. Of course, there's a lot of uh, young people who are incredibly frustrated with the educational system that we have in the US.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, this is kind of a hard to mention and to tell, but I think it's important for people to know this.
Yeah.
So my daughter lost some of her two best friends to suicide
Wow.
because they were not able to get into whatever school they wanted to go into, which is insane, right? It's
Yeah.
insane just to think that we've built a system that a kid that is under 16 or 17 years old uh, decides to end their life because they didn't get into Stanford. It's like,
Right.
seriously, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a world out there, right? So we see a lot of people saying, no, let's just you didn't get into Stanford, you didn't get into Harvard, you didn't get into whatever school that you wanted to go. There's a world out there, and go and find it, right? And
Yeah.
the opportunities are incredible, and the cost of education. I mean, we can definitely have like a discussion for like 3 hours just talking about that. But the cost of education
Right.
is much lower, and the opportunities are great. So a lot of students looking for that. Uh, a lot of people, of course, COVID changed the landscape by kind of allowing remote work. So we have a lot of digital nomads,
Yep.
moving uh, moving different places. One of the most active immigration places from the US. is Mexico. So
Right.
the amount of people who are coming from the US to establish themselves in Mexico and live a thriving city like this one, and it's insane and similar to other places in the world. So we got a lot of digital nomads as well,
Right.
and unfortunately, we also get a lot of people who don't feel comfortable staying in the US.
Right.
Because of their political beliefs or gender identities or different elements, and they're like, I want to find a place that it's more welcoming in certain things.
Yeah.
And I think we've all seen a TikTok or an Instagram of these $1 houses in Italy, right?
Yes. I saw that recently and I got
Uh,
really excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, we all, and again, you know, that's of course, I mean, yeah, they're dollar houses. It's not that simple, but
Yeah.
there's a world to be discovered out there,
Right.
right? Of so a lot of people who are in the possibility to just to travel and to discover. One of our customers had this quote that said, life is too short to be buying small, cheap T-shirts at some department store,
Yeah.
right? It's life is about traveling and discovering. So I'm just selling all my things and becoming a minimalist and travel the world and look for places. I mean, the world is such a large place, and at the same time is such a small area that you can get to discover. And
Yeah.
so yeah, vast array of use cases of people looking for different opportunities and establishing and sharing their cultures and their beliefs and so forth.
What I think is interesting is that it's not that you're just discovering a new place to live, but you're discovering a new version of yourself, it sounds like, because you have your opportunities here in America. And don't get me wrong, I think America is a beautiful country. I love it. Lived here all my life, of course. Um, but I think when you go somewhere else and you open doors to new opportunities, you become a new person and you get to explore and meet new people, meet new types, new cultures, and experience different traditions. And that's what makes the world amazing. So, uh, if you're listening and you want to find out more, or maybe if you're looking to make a move, Leonardo, how can people reach you? How do they get through in the website? What's the best way to start the process to get this going with you?
Uh, Thanks, Ryan. So we're at notalien.com.
Okay.
We have much more demand that we can actually serve right now.
Right.
So we have a really long waiting list. But please, if anybody hears this in this show and they would like to try the system, please email me at leo@notalien.com, leo@notalien.com. Just please mention that you heard us in this show, and we'll send you an invite code so you can try Not Alien.
That's awesome. I think what you're doing is fantastic. And I know you had quite the journey coming to the US, Leonardo, but I think even though you had all that stress and stuff to do to become a US citizen, I think it taught you a good lesson that inspired you to do this, which is great. Um, and I think if you're listening, you should go out, check out the website, even if you're not looking to necessarily move right now. Maybe you just have a little seed of a thought. Check out the website, look up Leonardo, and do some research. You'd be surprised at what you can find. And hey, you might want to just take a trip and just go check out another country just for a week or two and see how it goes. But this has been a great conversation. So, Leonardo, thank you so much. I wish you the best with everything you're doing. You and your team are doing some fantastic things. And let's keep in touch throughout this. I want to see how you do.
Thank you so much for having me, Ryan. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for sharing our vision and for allowing us to speak with your audience.
Did you enjoy this episode? I hope so. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Ryan Says Thanks. Your support is appreciated. And hey, even if you don't buy me a coffee, I'm happy to have you listening. So keep it up, and thanks again.